So when will we get any kind of update on James Gunn's Batman the Brave and the Bold? Fans are starting to get a little anxious, and we haven't had any real news on the project since it was announced. So what's going on? Let's take a couple minutes to talk about what I think the holdup has been, what James Gunn has had to say about the character, and why I think we're probably going to get some real news very, very soon. Well, it's been over 2 years since DC Studios announced its Chapter 1 Gods and Monsters DCU slate. Now, we've already had multiple projects start to come together, with Lanterns, Supergirl, Superman, and Creature Commandos, but we have seen quite a few projects, well, kind of stall. We've gotten next to no news on The Authority, on Waller, and Booster Gold. And there's been minimal movement on Swamp Thing even after we found out James Mangold would direct the project. But the one everybody is asking about is Batman the Brave and the Bold. Now, we know this new Batman is supposed to set up an established Batman character with a long history in Gotham City. We were also told this would include the Bat family, leading many fans to believe that we could see every character from Dick Grayson all the way down to newest Robin, Damian Wayne, and everyone in between. This means opportunities for Jason Todd, Tim Drake, Barbara Gordon, and many more characters that have been part of the extended Bat family. This got most people pretty excited, but outside of a shadowy cameo in Creature Commandos, well, we've got next to nothing on the project. Now, despite multiple casting rumors including the likes of Jensen Ackles and Alan Ritchson, we've basically got nothing on the project. Now, recently James Gunn did talk a little bit about this, admitting dealing with the character is, well, not easy, and admitting he's had a hard time figuring out how to make him work. Now, he admitted in that interview he's not actually writing Batman, despite a lot of speculation both here on this channel and many other places. But the key thing he's trying to iron out is the reason Batman exists in this world. Now, this seems pretty simple to most of us because Batman exists because his parents were gunned down and he seeks vengeance against criminals. But Gunn is avoiding a campy Batman, and he knows this character is an absolute pillar of the new DCU. And I do think this is one of the things that has contributed to the delays, but not the main thing. I actually think the main thing just got resolved. Now, we talked the other day about Matt Reeves finally finishing up the script for the second Batman film. And to avoid confusion, just remember, Reeves' film is taking place in a separate universe, and Robert Pattinson is not the DCU Batman. Now, his take on Batman is very grounded, and I suspect in the second film, we're going to see another noir detective story showcasing more of Batman's more grounded villains. I'm betting on the Court of Owls, leaving room for James Gunn to do, well, something quite different. And I think this is the key. Now, recently, the Hollywood Reporter's Heat Vision newsletter kind of made it clear that they thought nobody was even working on the script, and I don't think this is the disaster everybody thinks it is. Now, we know Andy Muschietti is set to direct, and at this point, there isn't a writer, and I think the reason is they really needed Matt Reeves to finish his script before they started working on their own. It's going to be really, really important for Batman the Brave and the Bold to differentiate itself from Matt Reeves' film. And at this point, since the script just got turned in, well, it wasn't very clear exactly what that was going to be. Now, I think Clayface is a big clue, because Clayface is a fantastical Batman comics villain, and definitely doesn't fall into that Matt Reeves world. And that's probably why James Gunn let the project move forward. But for the greater Batman Brave and the Bold film, well, I believe they are going to lean even harder into that. With Reeves developing this grounded Batman world, I think James Gunn's DCU Batman is going to definitely be fantastical. And not only will you see villains like Clayface, but other comic book classics like Poison Ivy and Mr. Freeze. These characters would not work in Matt Reeves' world, but I think James Gunn wanted to give Reeves a chance to toy around with whatever he needed to toy around with before he started developing his project. I mean, at this point, it's super unclear to me whether that was a contractual obligation and something they might not have had very much choice in. Even though he is the head of DC Films, that contract was signed before he took over. So, when will we get some news? Well, I do expect somebody is currently working on the script, and the framework for this film is probably being developed as we speak. Now, Gunn doesn't talk about anything until he has a finished script he likes. He keeps saying this over and over again. Nothing gets made without a great script. And if I'm guessing, that's really the phase we're in. Now, if I'm a betting man, I do suspect sometime around Comic-Con, we are going to find out who is writing this project. And whoever that person who's writing the project is probably doing it as we speak. With all the barriers out of the way and Matt Reeves' project finally moving forward, it definitely opens the door and frees James Gunn and his crew up creatively to take their Batman in whatever direction they need. And I think with Gunn having these sort of requirements for the whys and wheres and how Batman works in his universe, they need maximum creative flexibility in order to help that take hold. I'm a huge Batman fan. I can't wait to see what Gunn does with this. And outside of the big question of whether Batman will have trunks or not like Superman, I think we all should sit back and wait until we get a few more details and not get too nervous. This is going to be a big movie. It's going to definitely have more than just Batman and more than likely have the likes of Nightwing, Batgirl, and maybe even Tim Drake's Red Robin. We could even see Jason Todd. And with all those possibilities and toys to play with, well, we might be in for a treat. But we're going to have to wait and see. Before we take off, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button and ring the bell for all the updates. We do daily Marvel and DC news, and we want to bring you all the news truthfully and transparently so you're really in the know.